So you guys fill a lot of different roles, you know, writer, actor, cameraman, and all that stuff. I was wondering, what is your, and it can be answered by any of you guys, what's your favorite or most rewarding role in your group?
Like in terms of something we do in the process of making a video?
Yeah. Something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have always liked editing the most. Because I find, I mean, no matter what you film, it comes down to how it's edited, and there's stuff that was terrible in the making of it, and then you sit down and edit it. I mean, for crying out loud, when we filmed when we filmed Gamer Wars with Tommy Tallarico, we were just sitting there like, this is, oh my god, this is not going to work. It was just Tommy Tallarico yelling at us, no, I like Nintendo! And we're just like, between takes going, what are we doing? This is not, we'll never put this out. And then Derek sat down and was like, hey, just give me a night with this thing. Let me work it. And it was, he just fucked it all up. And that made it great, you know? So, yeah, for me, I like editing. That's the most rewarding part, I think. For me.
Go ahead, Sean. I like editing, I like directing, and I like writing. And I like being behind the camera. And if I never had to act in another video ever again, that'd be great. I like acting too, don't get me wrong. I'd just rather not do it. I really like building the sets or coming up with the logistics of everything, how we're going to do it, and how I can make something in for like no money. I mean, you're trying to make MacGyver things. I like doing that a lot. That's my favorite thing.
As much as I like building costume sets and like props and stuff, doing the actual effects when we're rolling with the camera, like whether it's, you know, this thing's gonna, it's usually blood, but you know, this head's gonna come off and blood's gonna spray on this wall and this thing's gonna descend. Like being behind the camera and kind of running the props that have to move or have to do something, any of that stuff like that's going on behind the camera is my favorite.
But I will say that there's always a moment where like, if it's just the three of us on camera improvising with each other, like that also is just like, there's no script, it's just me and my friends, and we've done this, you know, for, at this point, so like for like 15 years now, so it's just like, you know, that just improvising and just messing around with each other is like always really fun. Like our Ice Bucket Challenge, for example, we turned the camera on and we didn't know it was going to happen, but that was like a blast to do, so, you know. And yeah, what about you guys?
Favorite part of filmmaking?
Animation. I don't know, like kind of a cop-out answer, but I really like all of it. I will say the only thing is that like I didn't go to film school, or I didn't like grow up doing that stuff. So when I really want to like set up a lot of stuff, like I always feel like I'm like, oh, this is taking too long, and I get stressed out when I do that. But I really like doing that, and I don't know, I like directing. I like voice acting. Voiceover is probably the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Editing, yeah, editing's great. I always think, because Barry's amazing at editing, and like, I'm always like, starting to edit something, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta give this to Barry, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. But then like, I start to like get a feel for it, and I'm like, oh, this is how this works. And then it ends up being fine, and then I like show Barry, and Barry laughs out loud, and I'm like, yes, I did it, yes. So yeah, I don't know, the whole thing.
Yeah, the editing is fun, especially on the live action stuff that we do. Because, yeah, it's just taking all of these weird components and meshing them to a thing, and like, oh, now this is something like, yeah, taking something that maybe didn't work when you were shooting it, and like, oh, now it's a watchable thing. Like, that's a really satisfying, creative thing. So, yeah.
That's the thing too, is like we just did this thing where like it was filmed this very specific thing. Like it was clearly meant to be like this one kind of video, and then Barry got it and was like, I'm not gonna do it like that, and then he's like cut it up in a different way, and then now it's like whoa, this is something that it was totally not before, but that's coming out soon. That's not out yet. It's the next film bit that we're releasing. So.
Check it. All right. Cool. Lightning round.